Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show. So great to see everyone out today. Thank you for coming out to help support our wonderful school and your wonderful children and performers today. We have had such a blast putting this all together. My name is Chris Duncan, and I'm the director here at Musical Arts Schoolhouse, also Frisco School of Performing Arts, and I want to welcome you today to our auditorium at the Frisco Performing Arts Center. What do you think? Looks pretty great, right? Okay, thanks to everyone who helped put the show together, not only the crew and everything, but our amazing teachers and our stage manager, Miss Allie, and everyone who helped, our wonderful teachers, and also our wonderful volunteer parents who helped as well. And they're named in the program, so let's give them a big hand. If this is your first time with us, this is how it works. We host 5 shows a year, 2 featuring our music and art departments, 2 the dance and theater departments, and then of course our cap and gown graduation. Looking over the program, you're gonna see we have fun dances and scenes from the famous Nutcracker Ballet, of course with our own little spin on the story. The shows are broadcast live on the internet, so if anyone wants to find us there, they just go to our website. It's fspa.com. Nope, that's the wrong one. They're shaking their heads in the booth. It's musicalartschoolhouse.com. There you go. And then just click on the live show and there we shall be. And you know, some families choose us for our amazing academics program that's woven through all of our daily classes. Other families choose us in our school when they are seeking out the creative teaching experiences for their child. And the learning we share with you today is through our dance and theater show, The Nutcracker Fantasy. And I want to introduce our featured teachers for this show, Miss Katie and Miss Malia. Come on up here. Let's hear it for our teachers. And here's Miss Katie.
Hi everyone. Sorry, my voice is still coming back. So excuse me if you can't understand me. It was so much fun getting to go through this experience with your children. They learned how to project their voice, they learned how to enunciate their words, and of course, my favorite part, they had a lot of fun doing it, along as I did too. Preparing for this show took a lot of energy from both sides, but it was completely worth it because your kids are awesome. And now to Miss Malia.
I've been fortunate enough to watch your children blossom and learn so much this year already. They have shown great interest and dedication in dance, which really excites me, and we are just so excited to show you how much fun we had learning the Nutcracker, and your children are doing awesome. I can't wait for you to see them. And back to Ms. Chris.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and now, are you ready for the excitement of live performance? Everybody say yes. Yes. All right, well, here's how our story begins. Late one magical evening, a girl named Clara walked downstairs to say goodnight to her new Nutcracker doll. All of her fine presents and new toys were sleeping next to the grand armchair in the living room. And here they come now. She just couldn't believe her eyes when she saw all of her toys and presents come to life. The beautiful flowers danced all around her. Next, the tiny mice. Followed by the brave soldiers. And next, the gorgeous Arabian dancer. She saw the delicate snowflakes. And the delicious frosted gingerbreads. the ferocious Russian dancers. And the beauties from the land of the sugar plum fairies. Clara sank into the overstuffed armchair to watch. The dark room filled with light, and she found herself in a forest of trees with snow falling all around. Out of nowhere, the mice scampered all around, curious to see her. And the mighty Russian dancers circled the room, marching in to keep the mice in line. At last, the beautiful sugar plum fairies led the tiny flowers, gracing their way to join the mice and the Russian Cossacks, and they prepared for their welcoming dance. Clara was remembering the wonderful toys her grandfather had brought her. And there in front of her stood the gorgeous Arabian dancers. Each of the Arabian dancers all together took one flowing bow. They all took a bow. And next, the strong soldiers who saluted over and over found their place. They were preparing to impress Clara as they marched and twirled in this magical journey. When Clara looked up, she saw a forest of peppermint trees with coconut frosted snow falling gently all around her. The delicate snowflakes appeared. And they joined hands, encircling Clara. Round and round and round they went. Just then, the fierce Russian dancers came bounding through, and each took a hand of the snowflake. The Russian dancers led them to one side of the living room as if looking for something and pointing. And they were pointing in wonderment. Then they went to the other side of the room, pointing. And then right in front of her, to reveal something deliciously amazing, they knelt down to take a closer look. And they found what?
The chocolate river!
That's right, the chocolate river. They couldn't resist dipping their finger into the sweet chocolate for a tasty sample. And then the Russians moved to their places in the hall to watch as the snowflakes took their places for their dance. They told Clara that at the end of the chocolate river, there would be a celebration just for the Russian dancers stayed frozen in their places as the mice huddled in the corner. Their noses were sniffing hot. At the sight of the mice, and they formed a line to retreat. Off they went. And the beautiful flowers joined hands with the mice to protect their king. To secure the area, they went over to check under the presents. They were checking under the presents. And then they turned around and they said, "All clear." And then they checked under the trees. They looked and looked. With their neighbor. They all held hands together. And they celebrated a fast victory, and they jumped up and down and cheered. Hip, hip, hooray, and they all said, "Long live the Mouse King." They repeated it over and over, and the flowers gracefully followed after the mice, each tapping one mice on the head and saying to them, "Keep going." Once the mice and flowers had disappeared, the gingerbread floated into Clara's sight. The gingerbreads showed off their wonderful decorations by twirling around and cheering. They said, "Look at all our gumdrops." Say it again. Here we go. Look. The soldiers entered the hall and, saluting over and over, they took their places. The gingerbreads curtsied once and again, all together. The soldier exclaimed, what?
Get are ready!
Attention! Clara sailed in a walnut shell boat up the chocolate river to a palace in the kingdom of sweets. It was decorated with candy and desserts too numerous to mention, where each kind of delicious sweet and toy performed a dance. And the first to arrive in the candy ballroom were the sugar plum fairies. And then the lovely snowflakes swirling around and around. And lastly, the Russians walked in with high steps and strong arms to prepare to amaze Clara, who was an honored guest. After they were through, Clara clapped with great joy. As the dancers were leaving, she saw a soldier preparing to welcome the Arabian dancers to her. And then the beautiful Arabian dancers walked in. And then the Arabian dancers struck a pose, a freeze pose. Suddenly, the soldier marched right to his place in the hall, saluting over and over. And to Clara, the Arabian dancers announced, and the soldier said,
"Sit back and relax."
as the Arabian dancers were led off by the strong soldiers, the gingerbread snuck in to surprise Clara. They crowded all together in the center of the room. When they were crowded all together in the center of the room, they were secretly whispering to one another. And they whispered and whispered. And then they counted out loud.
1, 2, 3.
And they all jumped up and nearly knocked Clara off her seat. And they said, Just then, Clara noticed something was growing in the garden. Something was growing in the garden, and a string of beautiful flowers arose slowly and stood before her, while a crowd of mice scampered in and ran all around them. And they all said, "Our celebration is not quite through." The flowers swayed to the left, and then to the right, and the mice tried their hardest to copy their movements. And then they stretched all the way up to the sky. And on their tippy toes, they all pointed to Clara and said, Here is a waltz just for you." And the striking beauties, along with the fuzzy squeaky mice, performed their waltz of the flowers. Along came the Russian dancers, parading in with the beautiful snowflakes. Next, Clara saw the tasty gingerbreads hand in hand with the Arabian dancers. Next, they all turned to look to see the soldiers march in one by one. They all bowed and curtsied to one another and sprung forward, filling the garden. After walking to their formation, they spoke to her. The girls said,
Clara, we are here to show you
and the boys said,
our favorite holiday dance.
Clara sat in amazement. She had never felt so honored. Could this all be for her? She looked up and noticed that the lovely sugar plum fairies were standing right before her, accompanied by a few Russian dancers. So first, each Russian dancer took one step forward. They kneeled down on one knee and crossed arms. The sugar plum fairies did a tiptoe circle around the Kozak dancer. And they held hands to stroll around the hall, pointing out all of its beauty, finding their formation to show their magnificent dance. As each one prepared to dazzle Clara, they gave great big smiles. And they all announced,
Before you go, we want to join showing you our deepest gratitude by presenting you with a beautiful dance.
and that's exactly what they did. Clara was just about to applaud them for all of their fantastical amusements and an evening for great entertainment when more and more magical friends came in to see Clara for the last time. All of her friends were so excited. First, they waved and then smiled out to her, and they all said, and please take a seat, performers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for a photo opportunity here, but this is our big, huge favor we ask you. We want all of our performers to remain on the stage for the entire photo opportunity time. We will call each classroom up to the front of the stage, and at that time, the parents can come up and take pictures. So our first class to come up to the front of the stage is our dance homeroom performers. Dance homeroom performers and dance homeroom parents, come on up.